Hey guys, what's up, everybody? A little emergency show, breaking news, big news if you're a football fan, which you are a college football fan like I am. It's fantastic news for college football. Bill Belichick is going back to work. Uh, Brett McMurphy tweeted, that's where I saw it. One of the Carolina blogs was the first to report it. But there was the guy, Ollie Conley, who's been tweeting about it for days. It turns out that guy was right, that Bill Belichick is headed to North Carolina. I know this is probably stunning. If you heard the show that we did yesterday, Tuesday, Middlecoff was on, I said yesterday, this is not crazy. It makes sense to me. Bill is not going into this blind. Bill spent a lot of time at the University of Washington this year. His son Steve was the defensive coordinator at the University of Washington this year. So he got to see how a modern football program operates. When I say modern football program, what I mean is Jed Fish and Washington. Jed Fish's first year at Washington this last year had a very clear idea of how they wanted to manage rosters and the NIL money that you get. If you heard the show or watched the show yesterday, some of this might be you might have heard me say this, but I think it's really important for people to understand how different college football is than, even a couple of years ago, even last year, 2 years ago. Definitely very different than it was 2 years ago. For example, the University of Washington, where Bill just spent a lot of time. Bill was not just a proud dad hanging around Washington football. He helped in the game planning. He helped in the coaching. He was involved. They didn't pretend that he wasn't. They would probably say, why wouldn't he be? By the way, brought to you by Puesto. Love Puesto. If you're going to the Niner game, you need some good, excellent food, check out Puesto. But why wouldn't Bill be heavily involved? You've got access to him, use him. But it's not just that Bill got to learn how to coach college football. More so, he got to see a program operate. And the University of Washington last year did not spend a lot of money, last season, did not spend a lot of NIL money on free agency. They didn't spend a lot of money in the portal getting guys to transfer in. They're going to do that this year. So they approached it like an NFL team would, our cap, quote unquote, our cap, and they're going to move forward with that cap. And their cap is going to be somewhere around 12, 13, $15 million in cap space. All right. So it is it's much closer to the NFL than it ever has been before from a player management standpoint. The other thing that I think appeals to Bill about that, I'll tell you in a second. I do want to tell you this video is brought to you by PrizePicks. Right now, use the code GUY. Got to get the sponsorship in the first 3 minutes. Use the code GUY. Sign up at PrizePicks. Use the code GUY. Make a $5 lineup. You'll immediately get $50. Bam! Right into your account, whether you win or lose that lineup. It's going to make Thursday Night Football fun. I've got Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford more than on their passing totals. When I made it, it was 274.5. Plus, this week only, you get Patrick Mahomes 99% off, just half a passing yard. You can just plug that in. Bam. You get at least one right in your lineup. Make a lineup of 2 or 3 or 5 or 6. You can 1,000x your money if you go big, up to a 6-player lineup at PrizePicks. And I'm going to be doing it for college football because I love college football. It's going to be great for the bowl games and the playoffs. So code GUY, PrizePicks, make a $5 lineup, get 50 into your account right away. The thing that you can't do in the NFL, sometimes it's harder. It used to be harder in college to get rid of players than it was in the NFL. But now in the NFL, it's, I think, harder than it is in college to churn your roster. If you want to get the best available quarterback coming out of high school, coming out of college, in the NFL, you have to be drafting number 1. Not the case in college. I don't know if you noticed this. The number 1 basketball player in the country committed to BYU. Why? Because he got reportedly somewhere in the range of $7 million. How? Because the owner of the Utah Jazz, Ryan Smith, who last time I was out at Pebble, the caddy told me, oh, you see that house and that house on the 18th fairway at Pebble? Ryan Smith bought that house, which is nice, and that house, which is old. And he's going to wipe them both out and build one big house on a 2-lot spread on the 18th fairway at Pebble Beach. That guy wanted the best player in the country to go to BYU. That guy's going to BYU. So all this stuff that Belichick had to wade through to try and find Mac Jones, we got to replace Tom Brady. In college, you just go get the guy. Either you pay him out of high school, or, and this is even better, really, you find the best guy in the portal, or not in the portal, and you induce him to get into the portal. You tamper, right? But you find the best guy and you get him to come play for you. I mean, Belichick is going to love scouting the MAC. Like, oh, did you see this guy led Ohio University in passing? He led the MAC in passing last year. Well, let's go get him and make him our quarterback. He's going to love that stuff. So I don't think it's crazy. I think it fits. I think he's going to be able to get players. I think the college football playoff makes it very attractive, right? If you're Bill, you want to play for championships. That's what you do. You're not going to sully your legacy by not playing for championships. But if you're coaching North Carolina in the old 4-team playoff era, it's really hard to get to the playoff. This year, now we'll see how much longer this lasts, but this year, SMU and Clemson, 2 teams, neither of whom does anybody think is better than Alabama's left out, but those 2 teams are in the playoff, right? So I think it's never been more attractive for a person like Bill Belichick. I think the other factor here, and we'll see as details come out, is this is such an incredible splash hire for North Carolina. I think Bill probably could call a shot, say whatever he wants. I know there were some rumblings a couple weeks ago, maybe it was Brett McMurphy that actually said it, that part of this deal might be that Steve Belichick is named the coach in waiting. I've not seen that today. I don't know if that's true, but I do think the way things were reported on Tuesday, that Bill has kind of given his final offer to North Carolina, it made me think that Belichick basically said, here are the conditions under which I'll take this job. And then the president and the board of regents and the boosters and the AD, they then have the chance to go, all right, are we willing to meet all of these requirements? I'm sure the staff salary is going to be huge. Belichick's going to want to have a great staff. It'll be interesting to see, is Josh McDaniels going to be, are they going to go full pro? Or is he going to get a college coach in there? I guess he could argue Steve Belichick is a college coach now. So what is he going to do from that standpoint? But I know it's weird, but there's so much stuff that's weird right now. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury got an NFL job from an average college performance. And I like Cliff, but that's just the reality of it. Is this weirder than that? I don't think so. The other thing is, I think college football really lost when Jim Harbaugh left Michigan. I think football actually, as a sport, if you include college and the NFL together, lost when Jim Harbaugh left college, and definitely Saban, but Saban retired. Harbaugh went to the NFL. I think college football benefits more from Harbaugh than the NFL benefits from Harbaugh. College football is really in great shape when they have, 3 or 4 just pillar head coaches leading pillar franchises or programs and being the face of the sport in that way. It's hard. In the NFL, you're not quite that. The quarterbacks are the stars because they stay in one place. Not that Jim isn't a star. He is, but he's not quite the lightning rod, the face of the sport in the NFL like he was in college. He's great for the NFL. It's fine. But he's not going viral every 3 days like he was in college because he was one of the 3 or 4 mouthpieces for the sport. So now here comes Bill. And now Bill doesn't go to Michigan. He doesn't go to Alabama. He doesn't go to Ohio State. He doesn't go to one of these pure tentpole organizations. But he does go to a pretty unique and cool place, North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Cut your sleeves off. Wave him around your head. Twist him like a helicopter. So I think it's great. How quickly will he win? How will he win? Will he win? All that stuff's really interesting. I did a Washington football game this year. It was Washington at Indiana. It was a huge game and got to meet with Steve Belichick. Hell, his play caller, I'll be interested. I wonder if he would hire Brennan Carroll, Pete Carroll's son. Brennan Carroll is the offensive coordinator at Washington technically, but Jed Fish is heavily involved there. If he became the offensive coordinator at North Carolina, he would, become the actual offensive play caller. Anyway, just thinking out loud here. So, the player management stuff is very NFL. The general managers get hired now in college to just manage rosters because coaches have so many responsibilities like raising money. And, North Carolina is going to have no problem raising money and getting money to pay players with. I'm sure if we pulled up a list of the biggest donors at North Carolina or the richest North Carolina grads, it would be a very impressive list. So I love the hire. It's definitely splashy. I think it's more than splashy. It makes some sense, especially for a place like North Carolina. And for Bill, it's fascinating. I don't know that we've quite seen somebody with his legacy do something like this. I mean, Bill Walsh went back to college. But this is wild. This is wild. He wanted to get back in. The idea that Bill Belichick wants to coach and is not an NFL coach is kind of mind-blowing when you consider, you think back to where he was when he was leaving the Patriots. So anyway, this is cool. This is really cool. I mean, guys who win national championships, it's going to be hard. But guys who win national championships and Super Bowls, I think, what was it, been 3, maybe? Something like that? 3 guys? Who was Barry Switzer? Who's won a national championship and Super Bowl coach? Jimmy Johnson? Pete Carroll? That might be the list. Hold on. Yeah, that's the list. Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson, Pete Carroll. Actually, kind of proud of myself for knowing that one right there. Yeah. Daniel says, you're out of touch. Dude will be 75 before he potentially resurrects the program. I don't see it. He may not do it, but it's not because I'm out of touch. He doesn't. How old is Bill? Is Bill 74? I mean, all you have to do is get one big recruiting class. He's 72. He'll be 73 next season. So dude will be 75. That's 2 years. If he did resurrect it, that's fast. But also, like, you know what he's like, hey, has anybody noticed Indiana's in the playoff? Did anybody think Indiana? That happened pretty quick. Do you know where ASU was picked in the Big 12? Dead last. That happened pretty quick. Indiana's an amazing example because they portaled like 12 guys from James Madison. I'm not saying this is a guaranteed lock. It's going to work. I'm just saying it's not as crazy as you think. It's definitely worth a shot. And I think for Bill, this is not college football 10 years ago. This is a very pro football type of college football. Bill's probably thinking that coming up next year, they're going to make the athletes employees. And he'll be cutting guys left and right before you know it. So, wow. Do we have? Let's see. Let's check out does North Carolina future football schedule. Let's see. Who do they have on their schedule this year? They go to Minnesota. So they go to a Big Ten. They play James Madison. All right, nothing crazy. I was hoping that we look up and like, oh, North Carolina plays Texas, or Minnesota's. Like wait, that was this year. Hold on. They already played that game. Okay. This schedule's even worse this year. They play TCU at home. They go to Charlotte. They go to Richmond. They play at UCF. I mean, that's a good schedule for them. I was hoping they play at Minnesota like they did this year, but that's a good schedule for Bill. Wow. All right.